Hello, my name is Rory Colgan. I'm the host of the Metaphysical Hour, and welcome to our show. This is episode 2. If you've watched episode 1, you will have had the experience of watching the video, Am I Wealthy? A Self-Evaluation Quiz. This is part 2 of that particular little segment. So if you have yet to watch that video and take the quiz, I highly recommend pausing right here, stopping this, and going to the first video. You can search for it in the queue. Am I Wealthy? A self-evaluation quiz. Then once you have taken the quiz and you're curious to take it to the next level, come back to this particular video and we'll take it right on through. So I'm going to assume that you are ready for this particular section. So let's just jump right in. I asked you essentially 16 questions about how wealthy you are. And again, just as a reminder, the wealth that we're talking about is not the physical wealth. Yes, the physical wealth is definitely a part of one's entire wealth, but it's actually a pretty small sliver, about 1/8 of a person's entire net wealth. So now that you have answered those questions, I want you to just look at all 4 of those sections. See which one you were scored the highest within, see which one you scored the lowest within, and just kind of place them as, in first place, second, third, fourth place. After you've done that, you'll be able to see your greatest strength, or at least your subjective greatest strength. Because again, as we talked about in the last video, objectivity is not necessarily something that is going to happen every time a person takes this quiz. In fact, a woman just sent me a text message earlier this morning, a couple days after a workshop I did, where this quiz was part of the actual curriculum we did. And she says, one of the things that I learned is that I'm overcritical of myself, or, harsh on myself. I'm critical. And I'm going to take the quiz in a few days just to see if I have a better score. And she really has a great story for all of us, because it's very important that we recognize that if we scored, below 10, number one, we didn't do it correctly. Why? Because I told everybody to score from a scale of 1 to, there's a cat right there, her name's Pumpkin, and I was hoping she was going to sleep through this 10-minute video, but anytime I get excited and talk about metaphysics, she gets really excited too. But so please do not think of her as a distraction, just think of her as a warm, fuzzy body that keeps me warm when I'm doing these videos for you. Anyways, if you scored 1 through 10, you didn't even do the quiz right, because there's 16 questions, so the lowest score a person could get is 16. And if you got 16, or you're in that category 10 to 19, it's probably, there's a real high possibility that you did it inaccurately, that your ego was essentially the one that did the quiz. Not you, the intelligence that's objective, that has a high level of intelligence. Rather, it was just something that egoically you were programmed to set yourself up for. In other words, you were programmed to think of yourself with a low self-esteem, so you'd have to score really low. So that's what would happen if you were in a 10 to 19. Now, there is the possibility that you legitimately are on that area, and the first thing that I'll say to you is welcome. Welcome to the journey. Welcome to the journey of really examining yourself and utilizing the innate skills that you have, a lot of them that you probably don't even know about yet, to make your life more fulfilling, more wealthy, more influential, and just bringing greater health and happiness to your life. We all have to start somewhere. So even if you do legitimately score really low, 16 or, to 30, that's still okay, because we all have to start somewhere. I gave the analogy a few days ago that when we first start walking, we are more than likely pretty poor at it. We go back and forth, we fall down a lot, but that's how everybody starts. Olympic athletes that can run a mile in like 3 minutes, or 3.5 minutes, whatever the record is, or whatever Olympic athletes run it in. It's actually something that started off in a very gross way. And when I say that as a former child educator, that there's gross motor skills and that there's fine motor skills. And walking is a gross motor skill. And that means that it's a big thing, but it's also something that does require practice. So we all start somewhere. So if you've scored 30 or below, I would like you to definitely take this quiz in a few days and see if you can have more of an honest perspective. If that's really where you are, so be it. But the beauty is, no matter where you score on this entire quiz, you're going to have the opportunity to improve. And that's what life's all about. So, as I told you in the last episode, episode 1, life is for learning. Our entire life is college. Our entire life is a school. And as long as we keep that in mind, we're going to be happy. We're going to be youthful in disposition simply because every day is a little bit more exciting. Every day we're looking forward to something. We're discovering something. What happens oftentimes is that we get to a point in our physical lives where we start to reflect on the good old days, which is a code word to say that the days that we live right now, we don't enjoy, we don't look forward to, and that shows or exposes an error in thinking. So every day of our life is a day where we can focus on learning. Every day of our life is an opportunity to better ourselves, and that's something that's really important. So that's if you scored 16 to 30. If you're 30 to 40, you have recognized that there's a need. Again, this is all going off of the assumption that this is actually an objective assessment, not just a subconscious or subjective assessment. It's like literally you are able to articulate the numerical value for each one of these questions accurately. And that's saying a lot given the fact that we're all human beings and we all have egos, brains, and all sorts of weird things that can kind of trip up the idea of accuracy and trip up the idea of truth. So if this is accurate and you accurately score within 30 to 40, this indicates that there's a need to learn, that there is a need to develop a plan for improvement. Nobody is meant to live a life in the 30 to 40 unless they want to, unless they really want to be in that particular area. So that's what you need to do. Look for a plan of development. Subscribing to this show would be one part of that development. There are a few people on YouTube that I watch pretty devoutly, at least a couple times a week, and I subscribe to a number of different educational programs, as well as use my library card to check out books that are on a varied number of subjects, all because I'm interested in learning, all because I want to continue to evolve, and I have a plan, I have a strategy. If you score from 40 to 50 in that particular area, you are aware of your plan and you're actually in progress. So you're in a developmental stage, which is really a good place to be. Regardless of where you are on this spectrum, it's all good, as the saying goes. But if you're in that 40 to 50, you're in progress. So you just need to continue walking, continue practicing. That's one thing that I like to remind people, is that this is a practice, that your life is a practice. It's all practice. It's all getting better. That there is no one day, so to speak, that you're meant to live. Every day you're meant to live. Now, some days might be more insightful, more meaningful than others, but we can develop our consciousness to where all days are beautiful, all days are wonderful, and that is something that I hope you get to experience, to where every day that you're living is the best day of your entire life. That's a person that's living in the present moment, a person that is utilizing their resources and engaged in this beautiful learning school that we have down here on Earth. If you're in 40 to 50, you're in the fair category, which means that you have a good life, a fair life. Life is fair. It feels right. You're not caught up in shame, doubt, fear, worry, guilt, things of that nature. So you're successful in what you do. You have a pretty good grasp, and you still recognize there's a lot of room for improvement. If you're in 60 to 70, you actually have a good life. Like, not just fair, you have a good life. It's one of those things that you could say with a lot of emotion. I have a good life. Like, I am really, really blessed. I can't believe how blessed I am. That's that 60 to 70. 70 to 80 is where academic skills top off. That's the excellent realm. 70 to 80 is like, man, you are doing exactly what you're here for. You're doing excellent. Keep up the good work. 80 to 90 is what we like to call the amazing platform. There's very few people I know that live on the amazing platform. And, after I did this quiz, I wasn't even in the amazing platform. So it shows me that there's places that I still need to develop and grow. And then the last platform at 90 to 100 is the phenomenal place. I mean, you are literally a phenomenon if you're in this particular place. And I have yet to meet anybody. I've met Tenzin. I've met some wonderful and amazing people. Tenzin is the Dalai Lama's first name. And I could be completely wrong. I don't necessarily see him as a phenomenon. I definitely see him as an individual that has an amazing life. But perhaps that's just because I don't know him well enough to know how awesome and phenomenal he is. But again, I've yet to meet anybody in that phenomenal space, but a lot of the people that founded religions like Jesus, Buddha, Zarathustra, Lao Tzu, Confucius, maybe not Confucius, and I'm not sure so much about Mohammed, but they're all in that upper category, and there's a lot of people that we don't know about that are in that category as well. So I hope this helps give you a little bit of a perspective as to the realm that you are in, and I hope you continue on subscribing to these shows and listening to them. I kind of think it's funny that we do a metaphysical hour in about 10 minutes, but hey, you know, the learning is condensed. You can learn a lot in 10 minutes, and it's worth an hour of your time. Thanks so much. Again, my name's Rory Colgan. I'm the host of the Metaphysical Hour. Subscribe and continue watching, and if you feel so inclined, give us a monetary gift at innerhealthtoday.com.